Do you guys know what happened 35 years ago today? Anybody?
Um, is that the Golden Girls?
It is the Golden Girls.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to time this out perfectly. Okay, wanted to time this out perfectly because I only know of one man out there who's bold enough to say I'm a Golden Girls fan. That's my favorite TV show of all time. Matter of fact, he went on the Golden Girls cruise. The one and only Rob Parker joins us. Of course, you can hear him on The Odd Couple. That The Odd Couple begins at 7 Eastern to 10 Eastern at night, 4 to 7 on the West Coast. Why are you such a big fan of the Golden Girls?
What's happening, Doug, is because of the writing. The writing is exceptional. I'm not taking anything away from the women who started the show. They're phenomenal actresses, and I love the timing and the camaraderie between them. But some of the writing is tremendous, and that's, to me, when you talk about great sitcoms, it's always about, if you ever watched The Honeymooners, Doug, the show's been off the air since 1957. And when the lines come up on the show when you watch it, you still laugh. You still laugh, even though I've seen it a million times. That's the test of time of great writing and timing and cast. And the Golden Girls is not just about four old women retired living in Florida. It's about people. And always remember this: funny is funny. It doesn't matter what the circumstances.
I would I would agree with you. That I would agree with you. I thought we got a good thing, but you got beef with me because you said I only pick apart your takes that went wrong. Is that an accurate portrayal of your beef with me on social media?
I don't have a beef with you, Doug. This is, in this business, as you know, we say a lot of things. And I'm waiting for the day when I've predicted something correct and other media members say, damn, Rob was right. Damn, Rob called that. Man, Rob, because it never happens. The only time people seem to be interested in your social media or something is when it's wrong. So I'm one of these people. If you don't call me when I've done something great, then don't call me when I've done something bad because it doesn't register.
Okay, so let's do this. Here's the beef squashing event of 2022. You ready for it?
All right.
All right. Give me three takes and give me the take and that went right. Give me start with one. Give me one take you had. You called it before everybody else.
There's too many. Look, for
Just
real,
give me one.
I'd have to think about it. Doug, they're not on the tip of my. I do this thing every day for 36 years. So for real, I'd have to go. Oh yeah, I was the one who said that that Aaron Rodgers would win the MVP a second year. There's one.
Okay.
Everybody said, he won't win it again. Oh, voter fatigue, and Patrick Mahomes is going to win it. I went out on a limb. I said he's going to win it again.
Okay.
There's one. That's the most recent, last year.
Okay. Any other ones you want to get to? You want to tout yourself? I mean, you can't support yourself.
No, I mean, I'm just because like I said, I don't have a rundown.
I understand. I understand. Be like, man, I nailed this one. I nailed that one. I mean, because look, I only give you the business over the Brady one, and the Brady one is one in which you can get upset about, but you still are on that. There hasn't been a point where you're like, you know what, he's pretty awesome. You have built your career on, hey, I was the guy who said he's the luckiest of all time, and you're not technically wrong. There's an amount of luck it takes, to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. You're missing 4 offensive linemen when you play them. But my point has always been at some point the dude gets to 10 Super Bowls and it's not luck, right? It just isn't. So I mean, the ones you're known for, you have stuck by, right? You're not a guy who gives a take, and then if something goes, you're like, you know what, I was wrong. You're like Matt Stafford. You weren't a buyer in that he was Stat Padford, right? Tell me if I'm wrong on that one.
No, I was right. And Stat Padford, and we can say whatever you want. Doug, you were watching the game too when he threw the pick to the 49er DB right on cue, and the dude dropped it. He could throw that pass 10 times, and that dude is no longer in the NFL for a reason because he was thrown a gift interception that would have probably changed the game and won it for the 49ers, and he dropped it. That was Matt Stafford that I've watched his entire career. He won the Super Bowl. He didn't win the MVP, one of the rare times that a quarterback throws a game-winning touchdown in the final minute and doesn't win the MVP because he had 2 picks in that game. Should have had 3. My point is, not that I said he's a bum or he can't play. He's not. After they won the Super Bowl, people saying Dan Orlovsky and people like that on television, he's going to the Hall of Fame. With never being picked by his peers in the Pro Bowl. I mean, as an All-Pro, he was an alternate one time. And then you could say, well, he played for the Lions, and that's why, he didn't win. It didn't stop Calvin Johnson from being a first-ballot Hall of Famer because everybody looked at his numbers and his body of work. Stafford is you could have won that Super Bowl with that team that was put together, Doug, with about 15 quarterbacks who could have done the same exact thing. I believe that. It wasn't Matthew Stafford. That team already went to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff, and it only got better with Von Miller and all the other players, that they added to that squad. They had an all-star team. They were supposed to win.
I
disagree with that?
Well, I don't disagree that they had an all-star team, Odell Beckham Jr. and obviously you got Aaron Donald up front with Von Miller on the other side is pretty spectacular. But you contradicted yourself in your argument saying that Calvin Johnson still made it to the Hall of Fame because of his numbers. The greatest season any wide receiver's ever had, Calvin Johnson. They won 4 games that year. That's not all on Calvin Johnson. But Matt Stafford, his success is based upon his numbers, right? Or his.
Yeah,
you've even called him Stat Padford. But what's the difference in Calvin Johnson and Matt Stafford?
I'll give you the perfect example. Last year with Stafford's numbers, go look in the first half of he wasn't even named to the All-Pro team. They picked Kyler Murray over Matthew Stafford, and go look at the numbers that he put up, Doug, because people watch the entire game, they look at everything, and they don't think he's one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the league. They don't. Despite the record, despite what the Rams were doing at that time, he still didn't get picked.
I don't think Kyler Murray's an All-Pro either, but that's it.
Okay, but I'm just saying, but he didn't get it, is what I'm saying.
Brady now, if Giselle doesn't want him to play, wants him to be more present. Now he comes out in his podcast saying, "I got bruises on my arm, and these hits hurt a lot worse. I've missed a lot of birthdays and weddings and funerals." What do you think's really going on with Brady?
I think it was his wife. I think that she's mad. He said that he was done. She felt that he was really done, and I think she had a vacation plan and forced him, saying that you're going on this vacation, and he had to tell the people at Tampa Bay. And what choice do they have? That organization, they're not going to stand up to Tom Brady and say, "Come to training camp or get lost." Okay, so they're not going to do that. So they had no choice. I think it's a bad look. Once you get to that point and you want special treatment, and I'm talking about not coming to practice and not coming to camp when everybody else in camp, that's when you know you should retire. And I think it's bad. It's a bad look on Brady and bad on even that organization to go along with that and expect everybody else to fall in line and do their job. I think it's a bad look. I think this is it. He's got a big golden parachute waiting for him at Fox, doing football games for $80 million a year or whatever it is. I mean, how much longer are you going to play? I think this is it.
I think this is it as well. It's interesting. I feel like, there's so much talk on the Giants game about Brian Daboll going for 2 when there was over a minute left. I think a lot of people missed on the real story of that game was Saquon Barkley being back, right? That was
no doubt. Dude, he was dead. I thought he was finished, right?
Yeah.
Who was that guy in the Giants uniform, for real? Now, I don't know if that's a one-time deal and you know what I mean, and we get back to normal next week or whatever, but that was definitely. I thought he was finished with that team. I have no confidence in Daniel Jones and that team. But if Saquon Barkley's going to rush for 150 yards, you got a great chance every week.
Trey Lance struggled. You have some coming out saying he stinks. Jerry Rice saying, the weather was bad. Where are you on Trey Lance with the Niners?
My only thing is if they think that he's all that, then we'll have to wait and see if they're right. But I just think it's the weirdest move ever to have a team ready to win, a team that was a game away from, a half away from the Super Bowl, with a quarterback who's done nothing but win for you while he was there, to move off of that guy prematurely. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years in Green Bay. Trey Lance can sit another year and see if you have a chance to win. I wouldn't take undo a team that has a chance to win now. I think that's unfair to a lot of those veteran players. And you know this, Doug. You'll lose a locker room, or if the kid continues to struggle and loses games. The Bears are awful. To lose that game to the Bears is a bad start. Now, obviously, he can play well in week 2, but if he continues to struggle, and Jerry Rice, I'm sorry. I think the Bears played in the rain too. Was it not raining on the Bears side?
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad. I mean, Justin Fields is bad too. But yes, I generally agree with you. I guess the thing was that you mentioned Stafford and the picks. I mean, no guy has. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo in the Super Bowl and how poorly he played in the second half of that Super Bowl and missing throws, and even the Rams last year, the Jimmy G moment of throwing an interception. I just think that at some point they were like, we know what we have with Jimmy G. He's good, but in the big moment, he's going to throw a bad pick, and he's going to miss a guy like Emmanuel Sanders in the end zone. And I think mentally they might have moved on from him a little bit too quickly, because sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Yeah, and because Trey Lance, I just don't think, Doug, that he's a finished product. And I don't know if this is the time. Like, if he was playing in Jacksonville, nobody even talks about Lawrence. They don't even mention him anymore. Remember, he can't miss.
Yeah.
When's the last time anybody talked about him?
I don't know. He wasn't there this last weekend either.
No, he was bad. And he's an afterthought. When they talk about the great young quarterbacks, I remember they were ranting and raving about Lawrence, about him being can't miss. They don't even mention him.
All right, I got 2 more for you. Who's the rightful home run king?
Barry Bonds is the rightful home run king. Aaron Judge, he's going for one record and one record only, and that's the American League home run for a single season held by Roger Maris, and that'll be his. I believe he'll get to 64, but I'm not undoing. The biggest fallacy in this steroid era and people trying to disprove and tell people who's right and who's legit and who's not. Nobody knows. We know that Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte used the juice as well, right? How many other pitchers used it? When Barry Bonds was up, he was probably, Doug, during that era, facing guys on the juice as often.
I don't think. Look, I don't think you're wrong. But if you look at every number, every guy who put a number above 61, all of them are steroid guys. So if we would all conclude, even if you say like, hey, pitchers are on the juice, whatever pitchers are on the juice, it clearly did not affect their pitching enough to affect the hitting, because since they put in a stringent drug testing, no one has gotten 60. No one's gotten there. The only guys above 61 are all juicers.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you is that during that era, and I get what you're saying, but you also have to admit that baseball has played with the baseballs from season to season. There have been years where balls have been jumping off the bat and years where they seem to be deadened, which is what we got earlier, I think, this year, where people weren't hitting home runs, or was it last year, where the ball seemed to be deadened. Yeah. So
no question. No question. Listen, I'm not disputing any of that. There's no argument there that baseball. They've had years where the baseball. A couple years ago, right when the Astros won in 2017, the balls were going out of the yard like crazy, and they had changed the baseball. But you know what? No one did that year. No one hit 60 home runs. And in the 100 years previous to the steroid era, no one hit more than 61 home runs. And it just so happens that in that one steroid era, despite the fact pitchers might have been were likely on it and some hitters were on it, the only guys that are above 61 are all steroid guys. And like, how is this the only place in sports where guys cheated and yet their records still stand? Like, if you get a 1,600 in the SAT and they find out that you had the questions, your 1,600 doesn't stand. Because
I think you can't. If you had a test from that era of all the players, there's a list, Doug, the Mitchell Report, of 150 names that we don't even know that that are on that list. If they open that list and broadcast that list, I think we would have a different look at everything because there's 150 and they're not all scrubs. And you might look and see 4 or 5 or 10 of the best pitchers during that era on it, or maybe the best closer. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, maybe you'll take a look around and go, wow, okay, this changes everything. It's not just, but there's 150 more. There are 800 players in baseball, but we only want to focus in on Bonds and Clemens and 6 guys. I think it's unfair. But if you expose those 150 names, let me see who we're talking about, and then I'd have a better feel for it. Barry Bonds was the best player I ever saw, pre-steroids, post-steroids. I don't know. I've never seen anybody that good.
Most importantly, are you going to unblock me now? Are you really going to block? Dude,
Were you blocked? Oh, I didn't even know you were blocked. I'll talk to my assistant.
What do you mean you don't know I was blocked? You don't do that. Like that's like Barry Bonds saying I may have used steroids. I didn't knowingly use steroids.
It was cream. I was rubbing it on my elbow.
Oh, is that what it was?
All right, so I had my song. I wish I could play it for you, but I had a song for when I block people. So now I'll unblock. All right, and it's my song. Twitter, and I'll block if I want to. Block if I want to, block if I want to. You block too if they try to dish you. Okay, that's the song.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay. Thanks,
Rob
Doug.